Yo, what's going on, good people? What's going on? Episode 3, the Dome Podcast, man. Feeling good on this beautiful Friday evening. Appreciate you guys checking out episode 1, The War of 1996 Hip Hop. Also, episode 2, The Disrespect of 1997 Hip Hop. Man, as you can see, I got my background finally, man. My little man helped me out with this. So I appreciate Eugene for this, man. But yeah, let's get into it. Episode 3. And boy, you know, this is always a topic of discussion. This is the Dome 25 greatest Emcees of all time. Now, I'm going to post the actual list on Tony the Dome on Twitter and at some point on Facebook, IG, and stuff like that. But I don't want to post it yet. I'm going to just go down my list. We're just going to talk, have a good discussion. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's impossible. Nobody will ever agree. Criteria is going to always be what it's going to be, depending on age, influence, style, region, what do you feel as impact. So let me preface this by saying I'm not adding Run of Run DMC, Grandmaster Cass, Kool Moe D, and Melly Mel. Those guys for me are the kind of godfathers of the culture. So to put them on a list is almost disrespectful. So just keep in mind that those guys who I respect and love, and as a matter of fact, Run DMC is the reason I love hip hop. They get all the praise and honor from me. But let's get into it. And at the end of the show today, we'll talk about maybe 26 through 30 or some honorable mentions that I have. And like I said, I will post my actual top 50 on enterthedome.com and also on Tony the Dome on Twitter. Let's get into it, man, and let's go. At 25, I have Prodigy of Mobb Deep. So Prodigy is one of the most unique MCs, man. Rest in peace. That I remember hearing, and his voice, awesome, dope. One of my favorite voices in hip hop. Really, awkward style of rhyming. He, keep it thorough. I throw a TV at you, crazy. Nigga say P is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Someone throw the TV at somebody, man. So, but anyway, P is known to be probably the best MC to start a verse off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. You know what I'm saying? The way he carried, no disrespect to Havoc, because Havoc is actually a dope MC and an amazing producer. But the way Prodigy carried the infamous Hell on Earth murder music, during that time period, a lot of people on the East Coast consider him one of the top East Coast MCs. At one point, people probably consider him one of the top 5 MCs in New York. During that 95 to 2000, you could make an argument that Prodigy was top 5 in New York, top 5 on the East Coast. You can make an argument, in my opinion. Still got some of the best one-liners in hip-hop history. Solo career with HNIC was pretty much like his life story. From the beginning of that album to You Can Never Feel My Pain at the end, Veterans Memorial. Then he had the Return of Mac with the Alchemist and a lot of other joints that he had leading up to his untimely passing. So at 25, man, Prodigy, P, rest in peace. And again, check out enterthedome.com, a throwback article, Prodigy, the voice of New York. You know what I'm saying? Check that out. Oh, but number 24, we about to have a good time right now. Number 24, Andre 3000 of Outcasts. Oh, yeah, pause. I mean, somebody probably throwing something at the screen right now, man. You disrespecting Andre. First of all, let me say this. Andre 3000 has top 5 talent as far as talent, skills, flow, legendary verses. But speaking of verses, I had a conversation with someone on Twitter recently. Excuse me. I said, there's an album or two from Outkast where Andre had like 14 verses on the whole entire album. So you got albums where someone has 14 verses, 16 verses, 20 verses. Yes, there are legendary verses, but you splitting the albums with your partner, Big Boy, who is criminally underrated, and Big Boy is in my top 50 greatest MCs. So I use Biggie for example. And I was telling someone, do you realize that Biggie, I'm gonna use Ready to Die. By track number 6, especially track number 7, Biggie had more verses than Andre had on like AT Aliens in like 6 songs. You know what I mean? So he spit a lot of that. But again, like I said, this is gonna always be a topic of discussion. I have Andre at number 24. Outcasts is the greatest rap group of all time to me. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. 23, Lupe Fiasco. Listen, Lupe Fiasco is technically one of the greatest MCs ever to pick a mic up. He raps, it's like somebody shooting a layup. You know what I'm saying? His wordplay, his flow, multiple flows actually, because when Lupe first came out with Food and Liquor, and even the Cool, he kind of gave you that native tongue kind of vibe, even though he screwed up on the VH1 Honors Tribe Called Quest song. You say they want to. I know he's still influenced some by Tribe, and I know he also mentioned Nas, and It Was Written, and Tupac also. But anyway, when he came out, he kind of reminded you of a native tongue type guy with the kick push, and then, you know what I'm saying, the tracks on the album was kind of conscious on Food and Liquor and on the Cool. But as his career progressed, Lupe started flipping the flows. Man, he got certain songs where he just rapid flow, different styles, different vibes. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the guys that can do anything on a mic. He's an amazing MC, man. So I have Lupe Fiasco at number 23. 22. Shut him down. Chuck D at 22. What can I say about Chuck D? I did an article on Chuck D on IntoTheDome.com a few years ago. And it was basically, I called it the Chuck D, the grown man of hip hop. Because Chuck D always came off like your uncle, you know what I'm saying? Your big cuz who would just drop some knowledge on you without being preachy, without judging you. You know what I'm saying? But he would always just drop that science, man. And Public Enemy is probably the most powerful group in hip hop history. You know, Fear of a Black Planet, man. You know, it Takes a Nation, a Million is one of the greatest albums in all of music. At some point, I will do my top 30 hip hop albums, and you have to see where it ranks. But Chuck D has the most powerful voice probably in hip hop history. Very authoritative. Who else had the courage to make songs like Can't Trust It? You know, Do the Right Thing, Not a Living Bass Heads. You know, Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, which is one of my favorite songs of all times, man. So big up to Chuck D, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, check the article out, the throwback on the website, man. At 22, Chuck D. 21, woo-ha. We got Busta Rhymes, baby. Now look, Busta Rhymes, the first time you really heard him spaz out, you knew something was special about him. You know, of course, Leaders of New School had a couple of nice joints or whatever, but whenever Busta had got his opportunity to really get live on a Scenario, they said Dr. Dre was like, hey, that dude a star right there. Now, of course, fast forward many years later, the Big Bang with Dr. Dre working with Busta Rhymes, and Busta Rhymes being with Aftermath Records. But yeah, when you heard Scenario, you're like, you know what, something special about this guy. Then, of course, you hear him flavor in your ear. You hear, you know, his debut album. You hear him on features. You know, you see his innovative style, multiple flows. One of the best on the mic and one of the best on stage. Top 5 performers in hip hop history. You can argue top 3. Some might even say number 1. As far as an MC, probably one of the most underrated MCs in the history of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Busta don't spit whack verses. Flow was always on point. Multiple styles, multiple flows. What can you say, man? One of the most innovative MCs in the history of the culture. All right, let's move it on down to the dog at number 20, DMX. Rest in peace, DMX. On IntoTheDome.com, there is an article I wrote and gave him his flowers. years before he passed away. DMS, the Forgotten Child, on intothedome.com, man. Check that out, man. A lot of people really enjoyed that article. I'm proud that it was completed a long time before he passed away. I think that the second half of DMS' career and a lot of personal problems and issues kind of made some fans forget that at one point in 1998, DMS dropped two dope albums, one being the hip hop classic with his Dark. His features were incredible. His style, his voice, his energy, his passion, almost unmatched in the history of the culture. Because when people think of MCs, sometimes they think, oh, this person is super lyrical, or this person can do da da da. No, but can you do everything? DMS can make hits, he can make street bangers, radio joints, joints to ride to. He pretty much took the whole Rough Rider movement to a whole nother level and made them legends. You know what I'm saying? So heartfelt songs, songs with passion. On stage, he's probably top five in the history of in performing. DMS can make you feel like punching somebody next to you during his concert, and by the end of the concert, he can do a prayer and make you cry. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to list his discography. You know what it is. The dog, man, one of the greatest MCs of all time. Number 19, let's go to the West Coast. Oh, I know a lot of people gonna shake their head to this one. But at 19, I have Kendrick Lamar. So I remember Kendrick Lamar back when he was K Dot. You know what I'm saying? I had a couple of his early mixtapes and freestyles on YouTube, man. Back mid like 2006, 5. I mean, he was around as a young dude. As K Dot. A lot of dope mixtapes. But I tell you what, when I heard Section 80, I said, you know what? We got something special here. Every so many years, you get a special MC. And Kendrick Lamar is a special MC. And if someone had him higher than my 19, had him anywhere between 8 to 25, I would not be mad at it. When I heard the Reagan era, because I did a poem when I used to write poetry years ago. Some people know me as Tony Haynes Poetry when I started on Twitter back in like 2010. And you know, it's one of the things where Kendrick Lamar is poetic. You know what I'm saying? And he made me think about a poem I did back then called The Reagan Era. You know what I'm saying? So I have a poem. It's on Twitter somewhere. If you put in Tony Haynes Poetry, The Reagan Era, you know what I'm saying? The Crack Baby Blues, actually. When I heard his joint, I was like, wow, I did a poem like that a couple of years ago. So it just kind of took me home with that. Then that High Power, I think, was produced by J. Cole, and that kid was spitting. You know what I'm saying? And then Cushion Corinthians. That's one of those legendary times when I say, you know what? If he can keep making songs like that, he will go down as one of the greatest MCs of all time. And he did do that. He continued that on Good Kid, on with Sing About Me and stuff like that. And he, you know, then to Pimp a Butterfly, with How Much a Dollar Costs and all of that. So he kept doing that. But Cushion Corinthians, I have a article breaking down the verses of Cushion Corinthian on intothedome.com. Yes, the content is there, my people. Just check it out. So yeah, Kendrick Lamar, even taking this long hiatus, when he came back on the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago, look at the energy. Look how he performed. Some people got it, the it factor. And the Kendrick Lamar K Dot has that. Some people argue that To Pimp a Butterfly is a legendary album. Damn one a Pulitzer Prize. Good Kid, Mad City is a West Coast classic for me, and that puts him in a high regard. So at 19, I have Kendrick Lamar. At number 18, this can be controversial because some are gonna say that I have him too low. Some gonna say I have him too high because he's one of those complex figures, man. So number 18 is Lil Weezy. Lil Wayne at number 18, man. And look, say what you want to about this era or the previous era, but Lil Wayne is probably the most influential MC of this past era. There's no denying that he came out as a 12, 13-year-old kid with the Hot Boys, way back guerrilla warfare, way back in the day. Then he had, his own solo albums leading up to where I feel like he really took off on the Carter 1. The Carter 2 is a hip hop classic to me. The Carter 3 made him a superstar. And at one point, there was not a harder working, MC than Lil Wayne. I mean, he probably was on 200 features. And the cool thing about Lil Wayne up to this day is, if Wayne feel you, he'll do a song with you. Lil Wayne would do a song with the biggest artists in the world and then underground artists. Back in the day, he did a song with Little Brother from North Carolina, rap group down here. You know what I'm saying? Then he would turn around and do something with, the big dogs like a Jay-Z. But he was never too big for anyone. He recently did a song on AZ's new album. He could have fronted on AZ, even though AZ a East Coast legend. He could have still fronted on him because AZ is not some big commercial star. But he was there and spit a flame verse. You know what I'm saying? But the impact of Lil Wayne just cannot be denied. You can't deny what he's done in the culture. His best rapper alive campaign was very smart marketing. It got people talking. Some people might believe that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to debate that. I have him in my top 25 of all time. You know what I'm saying? There's hundreds of dope MCs. You know what I'm saying? So to make any kind of list amongst the greats, you can move them up and down. It really doesn't matter. Lil Wayne's a legend in the game. Lil Wayne, whenever he's focused, can rap his ass off. He has multiple styles, and he did what he did. You know what I'm saying? Young Money, as what he done with Drake and Nicki and all that, can't be ignored. But that's an MC. You cannot deny what he's done, man. So it is what it is. Number 17, somebody's gonna throw something at me. I know it, because this person is in a lot of people's top 5. This person's in a lot of people's top 10. You can move this person here and there. The only reason why this person is at number 17 is because you get one style from this person, even though this style pretty much influenced East Coast gangster rap. That's what you get. And so that person is Kool G Rap. Yes, I know that Kool G Rap influenced Big Pun, Big L, some Jay-Z, some Nas, Styles and Jada, Ray and Ghost, Capone Noriega, Mobb Deep. Yes, he's the East Coast Don of gangster rap. He's at my number 17, but he could easily be 7, 8, or whatever. I'm sure he's going to be there on some other lists. You can debate that amongst whoever. When I post this list, we can talk about it on Twitter, or when I post this on YouTube, you can go to the comment section and make your response, and we'll see how that goes. But at 17, and my favorite Kool G Rap album is 4, 5, 6. I love Blowing Up in the World. I think Buck Wild did that joint. Executioner Style is still a song that right now can rival how anyone raps. You know what I'm saying? So again, like I said, G-Rap is that one. Road to the Witches, The Streets, you know what I'm saying, For the Brothers. I mean, On the Run. Hey, it is what it is. It's Kool G Rap, man. I just did a post about him and Rakim recently about them pretty much following so many different styles, man. So there it is, man. At number 16, Ghostface Killer. Ghostface absolutely has one of the best discographies in hip-hop history. He's the best overall artist in the Wu-Tang Clan to me. Yeah, he might not be the best rapper. Somebody, Jizza probably got better wordplay maybe or lyrics. Inspector Deck got better verses, probably just verse for verse maybe. Raekwon is probably more entertaining at times. Well, I can't even say entertaining because Ghostface is very entertaining and theatrical and everything. So let me take that back. Method Man has the dopest voice probably in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And some people might prefer Meth, but that's one of those things where nobody has the discography. You're looking at Iron Man, Supreme Clientele, Fish Scale. I'll just stop there, man. I mean, at the end of the day, Ghostface has a top 10 discography. Some might say top 5 discography. You can definitely make a case, you know what I'm saying, for Pretty Tony. You know what I'm saying? You can make a case he's higher than this. Some people gonna see this and say Ghostface is not high enough. But this is T. Haynes' list. So, we got to deal with it for what it is, man. But Ghostface Killer at number 16. At number 15, Pharaoh Monch. Now I was a fan way back with Organized Confusion. You talking about multiple flows, multiple styles. Organized Confusion is one of the most lyrical rap groups ever. Because even Prince Poe was an amazing MC lyrically. You know what I'm saying? So Organized Confusion dropped crazy jokes, Stress, all of that. They had a great run as a group. But when Pharaoh came out with Internal Affairs, man, and him rapping on songs with Cannabis and a lot of Most Def or whoever, he was never really outshined rapping with anyone. MOP, all these guys was on Internal Affairs, man. And Pharaoh, with Simon Says, got him a club banger. Then, of course, just lyrical warfare on the rest of the album. My favorite Pharaoh Monch song is probably Queens. You know what I'm saying? But then he turned around and had all these other albums. Desire is a very dope album. There's a song called Trilogy on Desire that it changed beats like 2 or 3 times, and it's about him finding out his man had an affair with his wife, man. You talking about one of the best. It reminds you of Nas' Undying Love on steroids. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of that correlation, when Organized Confusion did In Vitro, you know what I'm saying? Nas had Fetus. They had Straight Bullet. Nas said I Gave You Power. There's a lot of similarities to Pharaoh and Nas when it comes to subject matter and influencing each other. You know what I'm saying? So Pharaoh is definitely, pound for pound can go head to head with NMC, and he has an underrated discography as well, man. So Pharaoh Monch is at number 15. 14 is, for me, one of the most gifted MCs in the history of hip hop. He raps like he at the free throw line. Most Def. You know what I'm saying? Black Dante, Yasin Bey. Yo, honestly, Most Def is one of those rare guys who I feel like if he would have really wanted to focus on hip hop, he could possibly be in the GOAT discussion. I really believe that. I really believe that Most Def could have been in the GOAT discussion. Black on Both Sides is a tremendous debut solo album. It touched every aspect of hip hop. 5 mics. It's not beneath any album to me. His lyrical performance, the melodies, Umi Says, the mathematics. You know what I'm saying? What do you want? It's on Black on Both Sides. Then the Black Star album when he had, Thieves in the Night. Some of his verses on, as great as Talib Kweli is, some of Most Def's verses on the Black Star album is some of the best verses I've ever heard. As a matter of fact, his performance on the Black Star album is top 3 or 4 best performances throughout the duration of an album I've ever heard in hip hop. But the thing is, Most Def can act. He can do poetry. He can do everything. So when you're that gifted, hip hop was fun to Most Def. You could tell it was easy. You know what I'm saying? So him being, ranked number 14, he could have easily been higher, just didn't really have the work. He played around with it. You know what I'm saying? He dropped a few albums and then he kind of just bowed out gracefully. They say a new Black Star album is coming. I think produced by Mad Lil. I'll believe it when I see it, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where we are with that. Number 13, Chicago's finest. That would be Rashid. That would be Common Sense or Common. You know what I'm saying? Now look, Common has just been an amazing artist. He came out with, his first album, Can I Borrow $1? And it was, he had a funny little style, Common Sense. He's trying to find himself. And then on Resurrection, what I used to love, a top 5 hip hop song of all time, mind you. His flow, it felt polished. You know what I'm saying? The album had, Resurrection, and of course the Resurrection remix that eventually came out, the Extra P. Whew, one of my favorite songs in college, man. But Resurrection was a very dope lyrical album. He took up a notch from Can I Borrow $1 to Resurrection. Then One Day It All Makes Sense. He put it all together as a total MC where he can have songs with the Lauryn Hills, the CeeLo, Cannabis is on there. So he had the lyrical songs on there, the very introspective songs on there. Even some tracks still, he kind of like battle rapping a little bit because Common try to battle you know what I'm saying? Common's an MC. He can freestyle, he can perform on stage, he can break dance, you know what I'm saying? Common can do everything, you know what I'm saying? And after you know what I'm saying, was it Universal Mind Control? At some point, Common quality kind of went down, and then when him and Kanye hooked up with B is a 5 mic album. You know what I'm saying? Because he had the Electric Circus there. It was eclectic. Couple of good songs, I think, Come Close on there where Mary J was on there. Aquarius is on there, produced by Jay Dilla. But overall, it was kind of experimental. It sounded like something 3K would have done. Just didn't really hit his core fans like that. But when B came out, Kanye tapped back in, you know what I'm saying, that Chicago feel with the corner, you know what I'm saying, and it just took off from there, man. Critical acclaim, and then Finding Forever, brought it home again. Another dope album, you know what I'm saying, with Kanye and Common. They had a very dope chemistry, man. I wish they'd have done a few more albums together, you know what I'm saying. But Common, man, you know what I'm saying. Number 13, number 12, you saw Versus. Number 12 is Big Daddy Kane. Now look, Kane is one of the gods of rap, of course. He still got it. He had the it factor back then. Yeah, he has it all. He danced. The chicks liked him. He had hard tracks. He could battle. You know what I'm saying? Kane could be in your top 5, and I'm not mad. Of course, the only thing for me that hurt Kane was longevity. Kane first, Big Daddy thing, Long Live the Kane, looked at as classics by a lot of hip hop aficionados. But after that, Kane's output just didn't live up to what it should have been. He didn't really keep that kind of same 4.5, 5 mic type of status with albums after his second album. You know what I'm saying? And then he went all into the doing joints with Barry White and wearing the suits. And to be honest, Kane was just before his time. Some of the stuff he would have done doing at 93, 94, if he'd have done it like 97, with the doing Puff and Mace ascension, it might have popped off. You know what I'm saying? But of course, he still tours. He's still amazing. You know what I'm saying? Me having Big Daddy Kane at number 12 is no disrespect. If someone has him in the top 10 or top 5, I'm not mad. That Versus showed that he still is one of the gods. You know what I'm saying? So you can place him anywhere. That's just my perspective. Even late 90s, his verse with Big L on that joint on the Big Picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude had it, man. Dude has it. Big Daddy Kane, man, much respect to the brother. I met him a couple of times here in North Carolina, and like he said on one of his songs, cool and humble, smooth and humble, and that's really what he is, man. Definitely a legend. Number 11, Tariq Trotto, aka Black Thought. Check out the article I did on Black Thought on intothedome.com, throwback article, because to me, man, Black Thought, you can also look at him as one of those top 5 or 6 people on stage. I've seen the Roots perform several times, and Black Thought was absolutely tremendous. Breath Control, tremendous. You heard them Funk Flex freestyles, tremendous. He's lyrical. They've been able to make hits. They have dope album cuts. Starting with Organics, that album, a lot of people don't know that's the actual debut album. It's not Do You Want More, it's Organics. Then Do You Want More was more jazzy feel, but then Ill Death Half-Life in 96, my favorite album of 1996, lyrical warfare again, like I said earlier about another MC. Him and Malik B and others, man, they were flawless on Ill Death Half-Life. Of course, during that war of 1996, I talked about on episode 1, we talked about What They Do. Go back and listen to the verse of What They Do. This was 1996. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Things Fall Apart came after that. Amazing. They won a Grammy for one of the tracks on there. You Got Me, I believe. The rest of Roots albums, I mean, are to me end up being kind of like Black Thought solo albums. Then eventually he did the Streams of Black Thought with Ninth Wonder and the Streams of Black Thought 2 as well. So yeah, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where he has the work, he has the history, he has the skills. He was dope on making songs for chicks. Contrary to some people, that's not all he did. He battle rapped a lot in his rhymes. He told a lot of dope stories to me. I broke down a lot of his work in the article about Tariq Trotto. Also, yeah, that's pretty much it with that, man. I was gonna say a few more things, but check the article out. I don't want to give everything away. Check the article out I did about Black Thought back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Number 10, we reached the illustrious top 10 greatest MCs of all time. And I'm gonna start off with someone who's is a GOAT, is the GOAT to some people. Is the greatest MC from the South to some people. That would be Brad Jordan. Scarface. Number 10 on my all-time list is Scarface. I know he could be higher to some. It will be higher to some. Could move up and down to me. One of the greatest discographies in hip-hop history, from Ghetto Boys to his solo albums. I still love The Diary. I still love The Fix. The Fix has some amazing joints on there. Of course, once again, enterthedome.com, I have an article called Scarface, the Grim Reaper of Hip Hop. I got inspired to write that particular article because I was listening to the song In My Time. I believe it's the last track on The Last of a Dying Breed. It was sad, realistic. It was kind of about his own funeral and leaving his family behind, but the way he articulated life and death in that song is a whole nother notch from I seen a man cry, seen a man die type thing. You know what I mean? When he came out with the diary. Yeah, In My Time. Scarface, number 10, you know, his discography was so good. Some people might say Mr. Scarface is back his best album. Some people might say The Fix. Some people might say Last of Dying Breed. Some people might say The Untouchable. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, amazing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Grim Reaper of hip hop, Scarface, man. He's a lot of your favorite rappers' favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying? And when he did songs with Nas, Jay-Z, whoever, he's never really been outshined either, man. He's always right there in pocket, man. You know what I'm saying? This is an amazing MC, man. Amazing MC. All right, we at number 9. The West Coast Don Mega, Ice Cube. So from Straight Outta Compton, his contribution, and then coming out with one of the greatest debuts of an individual leaving a group in the history of hip hop, possibly the greatest debut of someone who left a group for a solo career. America's Most Wanted. I mean, you can argue that America's Most Wanted and Death Certificate is one of the best 1-2 punches in the history of the culture. 2 classes back to back. And then if we're gonna be real, his run at the beginning from America's Most Wanted, Death Certificate, well, like Kill at Will, Lethal Injection, you know what I'm saying? Leading on up to West Side Connection. I mean, Ice Cube, man, today's a good day. One of the greatest songs in hip hop history. I mean, you can list so many classic songs by Ice Cube. Ice Cube, another one who got into acting, really loved him on Boys the Hood, loved him on Higher Learning, and then he ended up having an amazing acting career. But just as an MC, you know, I think that he's one of those people who he became so successful on TV that you have to forget Ice Cube is one of the best storytellers in hip hop history. Like Scarface, I didn't mention, is one of the greatest storytellers in hip hop history. And he has a great catalog. You know what I'm saying? The West Coast Don to me. You know what I'm saying? So Ice Cube, man, at number 9. Number 8. Listen, a lot of people think I hated on this guy. Excuse me. But he's technically one of the best MCs of all time, one of the most efficient MCs on the mic in terms of wordplay. Marshall Mathis, Eminem, number 8. Look, you can have Eminem higher than that or lower than that. That's fine. I do believe that he's so gifted technically, I had to put him in the top 10. Even if I don't really love most of his albums, and I don't, you know, I do think that the Marshall Mathers LP is his best album. It's a great album. The Eminem Show is a dope album. Man, I even like Slim Shady had a couple good jumps on that, but I like a couple songs on Infinite, his 1996 debut that most of you guys who claim to be Eminem fans don't even have. I found that out on Twitter. I'm like, wow, you guys don't have Infinite? You keep saying he the GOAT. You don't remember when he was rapping like AZ, Master Ace, and Trench, Redman? I do. You know what I'm saying? But at any rate, a vulnerable MC who gives his heart, his soul, his demons. Yeah, he did have songs for shock value that got him the MTV crowd. Man, Dr. Dre knew how to market Eminem, man. He's a white dude with amazing talent. So you had to go ahead and get that hi, my name is, and all of that stuff out the way. But your goats of the game all respect Eminem. And so it is what it is. You have to give props where it's due, man. And Eminem, for me, cannot be outside of the top 10. But I do know some fans are real critical on his relatability, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people might not feel his music, but I can feel the deep joints that he has. And he used to have this joint called Murder or something like that. It came out way back at the beginning of his career. Dude could really rap. The joint he did on Funk Flex, the joint he did on Raucous, Sound Bombing. I mean, Any Man or something like that. Yeah, man, Eminem, man, legend in the game, dog. Number 7. Now, I know good and well I'm about to get some flack for this. Somebody else might throw something at the screen. It's like, man, this dude is nuts, man. That Tony, the Dome, don't know nothing about hip hop. Because at number 7, we have the late, great Tupac Shakur. Okay, so let me preface this by saying this first. Tupac is the most felt MC of all time. Most felt. Because you're talking about someone who died like James Dean, you know what I'm saying? At the height of his reign at death row, at the height of 1996, him dropping All Eyes on Me, and working on Machiavelli, waging war against a lot of MCs on the East Coast. Though we know that he was working on One Nation with Buckshot and Goody Mob and Nice and Smooth. And we know he loved the East Coast, but he was bombing on Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, De La Soul, even LL on some unreleased Machiavelli songs. Everybody, he was bombing on a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So hit him up and all of that. But nevertheless, you're talking about one of the most heartfelt MCs. It's probably the most diverse MC with subject matter. He can do Death Around the Corner. Then he can do, Pour Out a Little Liquor. Then he can do, Dear Mama. Then he can do Keep Your Head Up. Then he can do Trap. He can do Brenda's Got a Baby. Then he can do Trade War Stories. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. So nobody's probably more diverse with the subject matter with the same vigor and passion. The same passion he had on Bomb First and Against All Odds, he has that same passion, you know what I'm saying, for Brenda's Got a Baby. You watch the video at the end of it, you almost want to shed a tear. You know what I'm saying? So Tupac, you know what I'm saying, like I said, could easily be number 1 for some people, down to outside of the top 10 for others. It just depends. Favorite Tupac album is Me Against the World. I feel like that's who he really was. All Eyes on Me was a big block party. After he got out of jail, he was happy to be home, and he just worked with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it was a dope album to me. Machiavelli was dope as well, but Me Against the World is his greatest accomplishment to me as an overall MC, as an overall artist. I hear Lord Knows on there that felt like Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So again, man, Pac, number 6. Man, we had conversations about this guy on Twitter recently, man. I'm just so upset with the disrespect to LL Cool J, Uncle L. Imagine coming out in the early 80s and being the first real star on Def Jam, first mega superstar. Curtis Blow was the first star in hip-hop, but LL was the first mega star as a teenager, pretty much carrying Def Jam on his back. You remember that song he had, remember X Russell, who put him in that Skyscraper? You know what I'm saying? And don't forget what he did for FUBU, For Us, By Us, but that video, on a commercial rather. LL Cool J from radio. He's in the era of Run DMC and the Fat Boys and Crush Groove when he come out. Fast forward a decade later, in 1995, you're able to drop Mr. Smith, have Doing It on the radio in the clubs, have Hey Lover, turn around and have Who Shot You, 4, 3, 2, 1, and all this stuff in the 90s. The song Hip Hop. Queens is or whatever with Prodigy. This unreleased joint called New York Gangsters, where he's talking about growing up around all of the legends of New York dope life, you know what I'm saying, street life. He knew all these guys, you know what I'm saying, but you know, things of that nature. He named some of them in the song. Now he talked about it on Drink Champs that he wasn't glorifying it. He was just letting people know that he grew up around that and chose another route. But New York Gangsters is on the K-Slay mixtape Return of the Goat. You know what I'm saying? But it was never released. Then he had that joint on one of his albums, 10 Million Stars. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just lyrical, man, underrated lyrically. He goes from battling Kumo D and all those guys in the early 90s, late 80s to still battling someone like Cannabis in the late 90s. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, on the Goat album, that what's the name of that joint with Ja Rule doing the hook, Where I Belong? He gave Cannabis some work on that joint, man. You know what I'm saying? So Uncle L, man, number 6. Number 5. Now look, I will get some more flack for this. Number 5 is actually the king of hip hop, but this is my greatest Emcees list. But number 5 is the king of hip hop, and obviously one of the greatest Emcees of all time. He can never be outside nobody's top 5. I don't care. You can even say scrap what I'm talking about and put him at number 1 if you so choose to do. That would be Jay-Z, Sean Carter, So Jay-Z is the greatest rapper of all time in terms of overall success, overall career, everything. I would say if anybody say, "Oh, point me to the king of hip hop," 50 years from now, it will be Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, because so many other things he's doing. But as an MC, he is anywhere from 1 to 5. Let me just preface that. Jay-Z is anywhere from 1 to 5, should be on anybody's list, to be honest with you. He's number 5 on my list. He's one of the greatest MCs, like I said. But what you want, multiple flows. Nobody has been at a level of the street bangers, club joints, radio joints at that level on so many different occasions. I think he has more number 1 albums than anyone in the history of the culture. I had a little challenge on the website where one of my friends, Sid, shout out to Sid, Jay-Z is favorite rapper, now is my favorite rapper. So we had to do a greatest MC of all time in 1,000 words, kind of like essay article type form. And we had to switch and do the other person's favorite. So I have an article on the website, Jay-Z is the greatest MC of all time in 1,000 words. It's on enterthedome.com. You can also find it on Twitter as well. And I mean that. He could be the greatest MC of all time. And I posed that in the article and why he is the greatest, because that was a challenge. Again, I wouldn't challenge you if you said number 5 is too low. You want to say number 1, that's fine. You cannot say he's not a top 5 or top 10, because then your list is not even credible. It doesn't make any sense at all. But what you want from Jay-Z, from Reasonable Doubt, Black Album, Blueprint, American Gangster, you know what I'm saying? Several albums where you take 2 or 3 songs off, it's some of his best work. When I think about Volume 1 and Volume 3, Jay was spitting on Volume 1 and Volume 3. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy. There's some heat on Blueprint 3. You know what I'm saying? So again, you could put Jay anywhere. That's what he is for me. We can debate that on Twitter. You can debate that on YouTube when I post this video. Number 4, Frank White, Biggie Smalls. Now look, Biggie's the greatest to some people too. So some of this now, we're in the elite. When you talking about the top 10, we're in that rare space that we're talking about Wilt Chamberlain versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bird versus Magic, LeBron and Jordan, Kobe, the Kim Olajuwon, and we talking about Elgin Baylor and them now. So there is no right or wrong now. This is semantics now. You know what I'm saying? But Biggie Smalls, what he did in that short career for that time period, nobody probably did that in that short of time. If Biggie lives after life after death and he drops the album I think was gonna come, things probably look a little different. Biggie is probably the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? With more time. He wasn't granted more time, but look how great he is to even be considered anywhere between 1 through 5 on most lists. You won't find too many lists where Biggie's not in the top 5. You definitely won't find too many where he's not in the top 10. And if he's out of the top 10, I don't even want to watch. Your list don't mean nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? what you want. The storytelling, A+. You know what I'm saying? Battle rap. I talked to people recently about, look, Biggie was possibly the greatest battle rapper without even battling. When you think about Who Shot You, Niggas Bleed type joint, Long Kiss Goodnight, you know, you can kick in the door. Biggie whole style was battle ready. It was in battle form. You know what I'm saying? So he could, I do believe that if he would have listed people's names in certain songs and even lived longer to actually battle some of these guys, like he was in Kicking the Door, he went at everybody from Boot Camp Collector, Nas, J. Rue the Damager, Tupac, everybody. He referenced everybody in there. You know what I'm saying? It's a crust so-called Willis Thugs and Rapper Dons. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, Biggie Smalls. What more can I say? Rest in peace for Christopher Wallace, man. Man, number 3. My favorite MC of all time. I shouldn't have to say the name because if you follow me on Twitter, Tony the Dome, you already know Nas Escobar is my favorite MC, the Golden Child. What else do I need to say? People keep talking about Illmatic. We know what that is in hip-hop history. I'm talking about after that. And of course, we know Live at the Barbecue, Back to the Grill again. He said some of the illest rhymes. At that time, you had to take notice, especially on the East Coast. You had to be like, look, man, we haven't heard nothing like this in a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely sparked the underground because, to be honest with you, in 1994, I know revisionist history is a little different, but in 1994, Nas was an underground MC, a backpacker, basically. The Tim's the backpack. You know what I'm saying? He was, he was like Buckshot Short on steroids. You know what I'm saying? Before he really, people are like, oh, that Illmatic dude, he nice, but he wasn't a commercial star. You know what I'm saying? That's where It Was Written came in at. And Lord, thank God for Steve Stout. Thank God for It Was Written because Nas had everything, man. The lyrics, the look, the vibe. Chicks liked him. Dudes thought it was cool. A lot of MCs talking now about how when he was in the Source magazine with different outfits on there, he inspired them. So he deserved to be a star. And so Steve Stout and other people saw that. So thank God for It Was Written. You know what I'm saying? And so forth and so on. But Nas started off as the king of the underground, really. You know what I'm saying? But what can you say about a career? Illmatic. It Was Written. I Am gets bootleg, man. The first big star to get bootlegged on Napster. You know what I'm saying? And then, what have you. And it leaked. So you end up getting I Am Nostradamus. Didn't happen. So you get I Am and Nostradamus. You know what I'm saying? And okay, Nostradamus was not up to par, but you hear what Lost Tapes sound like, right? That's what I Am, the double CD, was going to sound like. You know what I'm saying? Came back with Stillmatic, legendary battle with Jay-Z, Godson. I didn't love Street Disciple and Hip Hop Is Dead to that point, but it was gems on them. Came back with Life Is Good. I listed 12 of the songs on Life Is Good the other day, and I said if you had trimmed down and took 2 or 3 songs off Life Is Good and put those bonus tracks on there, I think that would have been his 3rd best album of his career, and he did that late in his career. And now look what he's done now. King Disease 1, King Disease 2, Magic. Working on King Disease 3 at some point, according to Hit Boy. This late in his career, 30 years in, and you rapping like you did on King Disease 2 and Magic, he got to be number 3 to me. And it could be the best. You know what I'm saying? So again, we talking about we're in the Hall of Fame era right now, stage. So everyone's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Number 2, Blastmaster KRS-One, Multiple Styles. I remember when I first heard The Bridge Is Over, my big brother was playing that joint, the record, man, and I was like, oh my God. It was just, the beat was infectious. You know what I'm saying? Criminal Minded. You know what I'm saying? 9mm Go Bang. Then you turn around with By All Means Necessary. And rest in peace, Skylar Rock. I thought that By All Means was better than Criminal Minded. Then you got just all these other joints, Edutainment, Sex and Violence, the Blueprint of Hip Hop, Ghetto Music, Solo Joint, Return to Boom Bap. You know what I'm saying? I Got Next, KRS-One self-titled album. I would also say one of the greatest discographies in the history of the culture. You know what I'm saying? We'll Kill You on Stage. Look what him and Big Daddy Kane did recently. They outdid everyone. You know what I'm saying? As far as verses, to me, as great as Jadakiss was with Locks Against Dipset, KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane had the best verses to me. You know what I'm saying? So what do you need to say about Chris, man? I got an article on the endofthedome.com about Chris also, man. Check it out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's get down to it, man. Oh, man, the GOAT. Miles Davis of hip hop. For me, Rakim, I'm still amazed by his lyrics. I still listen to him so often, man. Just the voice, the flow, the concentrate, the way he penned his verses like a music instrument. When you hear him break down the way he was influenced by jazz because he used to play the sax in high school. You know what I'm saying? I have an article, the Miles Davis of hip hop on IntoTheDome.com. You see the theme here, man. A lot of content on IntoTheDome.com that you can go back and see. But Rakim, paid in full, you know what I'm saying, brought something different to the game. He slowed down hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It for me it's pre-Rakim, post-Rakim. Pre-Rakim is the yelling, screaming of Run DMC, LL Cool J, and most of the MCs at that time. You know, more hyper MCing. You know what I'm saying, in terms of the delivery and everything. The slow flow by Rakim has been influenced by, influenced generations. Same way G-Rap did with the mafioso style, multi-syllable rap. You know what I'm saying? So, Rakim, after paid in full, follow the leader, let the rhythm hit him. Don't sweat the technique. 5-year hiatus. He comes back without Eric B. Comes back Dolo, which his albums are still Dolo albums, even with Eric B. and Eric B. the DJ and the business partner. But you know what I mean. And a lot of people don't know Rakim made a lot of the beats too, and I think Lost Professor did also. But coming back to the 18th letter, he had missed a beat in them 5 years. He was off, and I know that during that time he's supposed to be with Aftermath, Dr. Dre. Oh my God, never happened. Dr. Dre wanted him to be more gangster. Rakim was not going to compromise himself. They had creative differences, and he moved on. But the 18th letter, the saga continues by Pete Rock. It's been a long time, I believe, by Primo. Some of your favorite boom bap guys are on there. You know what I'm saying? He has a song on there. I love Remember That, but Waiting for the World to End. No. Excuse me. Waiting for the World to End is on The Master. You know what I'm saying? Well, I be on the mic and stuff like that. Who is God is on the 18th letter. I would challenge you to go back and listen to Who is God. Come back and talk to me. I would also say, of course, if you go back early in his career, Lyrics of Fury and stuff like that, just incredible rhyming and just some next level type of delivery and everything. But yeah, Who is God? And then on the Master album, of course, he can do an I Be on a mic type joints that give you that hard New York vibe. You know what I'm saying? But then waiting for the world to end is that technical gift that Rakim had, his wordplay. You know what I'm saying? And just the consciousness, of it just, oh my God, man. Through my travels, I try to take righteous steps because right or left could mean life or death. I mean, oh my God, just the God of Rakim, man. So yeah, man, that's where we are right now, man. It's my top 25 MCs of all time. You know, that's where I'm going at it. I appreciate you guys for listening, man. Episode 3, man, the top 25 MCs of all time. And yes, there are some notable omissions. You know what I'm saying? You can also flip my mine around. Of course, you got Guru, the late great Guru. You got Slick Rick, who a lot of people will say, why is Slick Rick not there? He's in my top 50. Others that made my top 50, of course, Run DMC. Drake is in the top 50. He's the biggest artist of the last decade. And I know there's a lot of controversy with that, but no, Drake has a spot in the top 50, man. He has no choice. Raekwon is in my top 50. Raekwon is one of those guys that he actually can put so much in short songs and short and like his songs can be 2 minutes long, man, and it feel like a 5-minute song, man. Raekwon is so efficient as an MC, man. Very efficient. Big L, of course, I know hip hop Twitter loves Big L. I love Big L. You know what I'm saying? I had Big L. I showed a picture on Twitter one time. Lifestyles of the Poor and Danger. I had it from the record store in 1995. I was in college. Yes, I love Big L. You know what I'm saying? So Big L Kanye is a top 5 artist in hip hop history. He made my top 50 MC list because his discography is just too good not to. But if we were talking about the top 25 artists in hip hop history, Kanye in the top 5. You know what I'm saying? And Drake might be also. You know what I'm saying? Jadakiss also is in my top Tretch. You know what I'm saying? 50 Cent also because of impact and he has skills, man. Who else I got? MC Light, of course. Lauryn Hill. Well, if we were talking about talent and gift, Lauryn Hill would be in my top 10 in terms of talent and gift. I'm sorry she can't make my top 25 MC list with no rap album. Yeah, she got the album with the Fugees. She doesn't have a solo rap album. That's like I said, if Andre had solo rap albums, he'd be in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Lauryn Hill doesn't have any, but her talent alone keeps her in my top 50. MC Light is in my top 50. You know what I'm saying? She made the list. Wow, Q-Tip made the list. J. Cole made the list. And plenty others, man. So at some point I will post. I'm gonna post the top 25 of all time first, and then I'll post 26 through 50 and things of that nature, man. So look, you know where to find me at? Tony the Dome on Twitter. Enterthedome.com. You know what I'm saying? The Dome YouTube. I'm just starting this again with this is episode 3, man. I appreciate you guys. One love, my people. Hey, until next time, man. Peace.